All right. Well, let's start with the most recent race that you did in Nice at the World Championships, where you won the doubles with Mark Dean. Congratulations. Um,
Oh, thank you.
how was the experience? How was the weekend? Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, it was insane. It was literally HYROX on steroids like the whole weekend. It was so good to see kind of like the best of the best from Friday night. The Elite 15 competing and watching that and witnessing that. To then going and watching Saturday and then competing on Sunday. And then finishing off with the relay. It was finishing off with a bang. So the whole weekend was unbelievable. Competing was quite tough, I think, in the conditions, but everyone was in the same boat, so it was pretty cool.
The lineup in the doubles was like pretty stacked as well. Like, did you fancy you could win it?
Well, I actually watched a guy put a video out a couple of days prior, basically explaining who was in the heats and everything like that. And then he mentioned, there was quite a few favourites, and we weren't, part of that favourite list. We was it, like he mentioned us, but yeah, he said, there was other people looking at kind of like the records and stuff prior. Yeah, we thought that we'd be in for a tough time. But going in there, we actually took it easy. Like, if we actually think about kind of like the race and go through the race, like we actually, like our mindset was to take it easy up until the sleds, just because we didn't know what the heat would be like. We've seen a lot of people kind of struggling with the heat and either pulling out because of the heat. So we thought if we take it a little bit easier and then push on from there if we're feeling good, and that's exactly what we did. So we just hung on, took it quite easy. Sat in kind of like third and fourth place up until the sled pull, and then after that we really picked it up, and it was kind of neck and neck all the way. Between ourselves and another pair, and there was 6 seconds in between it in the end.
Nice. Um, I've heard a few people talking since about like they'd like to see like an Elite 15 series with doubles. Would you be supportive of that? Is that something you'd like to see?
Oh, 100%. And if it did happen, I'd love it to happen like maybe on a different day to the Elite 15, like the singles Elite 15, so like everyone gets a fair chance of having a go at it. So even people in the Elite 15 can have a crack at it. I think that would be unbelievable, because then we
Mhm.
do like get the best of the best. They're not just focusing on singles; that they can jump into the doubles, because there's been some really good races that we've been a part of. The Manchester one of last season, and the Birmingham, where Hunter raced, James Kelly raced, Graham Halliday raced, and it was just a really good environment. And yeah, I think it'd be a lot more fun to watch.
Yeah. It does. Like think about them races that you mentioned. It gets a good crowds out as well, actually, doesn't it? Like that Manchester race, like so many people came to watch it, and similar with was it Birmingham? It was like 8 o'clock in the morning, like you guys started, and there was a
Yeah, that
ton
that
of
was the
people there
best,
for it.
because because the course was quiet. We were the first people setting off. It was crazy. What do you think about that? Do you feel like it'd be a good thing to have
I think,
doubles?
I think it would be good to see. Like, it's good to spectate it. It's interesting whether they approached it, if they did do it, whether they approached it that the Elite 15 guys, if you're racing in the singles, you're not allowed to do it, and whether that's better or not. I'm not sure about that. I probably agree with you in that you should just have the best of the best in it, and then there's no like arguing over who is the best. But no, I think it'd be good to see because, like I said, like the doubles races have been good to watch. The ones I've seen this season, and it's kind of like the relay in a way. Like that was so exciting, and I think the doubles could be the same.
For
Um,
sure, for sure.
I wanted to ask you as well about your other like recent race was in New York, which you won the pro over there. How was that event? It looked pretty special over there.
Yeah, so obviously HYROX isn't as big in the US at the moment. Like, obviously it was still a sellout event and everything, but most of the people that were competing there were kind of like first timers. So going over there with the kind of basically the reason I went over there was to get a good singles time down before the end of the season. And I just wanted to prove to myself that I have improved over the last kind of like 3 months since my last race at Glasgow. So going over there, trying to take that top spot, but also trying to put down a good time. And then actually being there, like it was insane. It was like a festival. Like it was outdoors. It was 30 degrees. You know, people were enjoying themselves. People were drinking. Like it was like the music was blaring. Like it was good. It was like a festival. A totally different environment to kind of like the UK. I feel like the UK is a little bit more serious, which you know has its pros as well. But yeah, going into the actual race, it was so hot. It was like 30 degrees. There was actually Christian was actually going around. So Christian, the owner, was actually going around spraying people. So he had a hose pipe and he was actually spraying people that were running around just to cool them off. So it was kind of there. But there was a couple of differences. The sleds turf was a little bit different. So it was actually, I found it easier on the pull, but the push was harder. And a lot of people said the same. So that would have altered kind of like my time a little bit. And then there was no chalk at all. So there wasn't chalk on the sled pull, wasn't chalk on the farmer's carry. Like normally I go like unbroken on the farmer's carry. I put it down like 3 or 4 times. It was, I don't know if it was just, you know, being towards the end of the race, being hot, you know, sweaty. But yeah, I felt good and got a good time. 58:12, which I thought was okay for the course.
Yeah, it's great. Awesome. All right, so let's like rewind and talk about your background. Well, firstly, how old are you?
So I am 25.
25. All right. So what's your
tough paper round? Yeah, tough paper round.
I weren't going to say it. So what's your background? What were you doing when you were younger?
So younger in school, played kind of like Sunday league football. I'm not going to say, you know, I would have been pro or anything like that. I was not like, you know, a lot of people say that, but no, just Sunday league standard. I loved running as well, so I was part of like my local Harriers, but I also loved training in the gym. Like everyone around me, all my mates and everything were bigger than me, they were stronger than me. I was kind of like a skinny lad growing up, so I would always like wanted to put on weight, wanted to put on muscle. So that's kind of when I was kind of like 16. I got an apprenticeship civil engineering, and then just focused on kind of like the gym. Scrapped running completely, focused on the gym, and then probably when I was around 20, got back into kind of running and bodybuilding side by side, and then after that made the switch over to becoming a personal trainer. I thought civil engineering was for me, and then just was part of kind of like a really good environment where hybrid training was a thing. And then HYROX came around, and the first one that I did was October 2022. Didn't really train for it, and got first in my age group, and then thought if I actually put my mind to this, I might be all right at it. Yeah.
Were you a particularly good runner when you were younger, like leading up to 16?
No, I was always compared to everyone else, I was always too heavy. So it was kind of like the weight that was kind of like a downside to the running, because I was running with fast people, and weight does matter when you get into elite level running.
Mm-hmm. So you've done like we'll talk about HYROX a little bit more in a bit, but you've done like lots of endurance events, like so I think you've done, was it 7 marathons in 7 days?
Yes, so did that for charity. So 7 marathons in 7 days, and then the year after tried to beat that and did 10 in 5 days. So 10 marathons in 5 days. So
are you particularly attracted to that sort of length of thing?
I think it's I absolutely loved, like, it first came about by doing a marathon. So the first marathon that I did was the Manchester Marathon. I was 17 at the time, and then I was like, David Goggins was a massive kind of thing back then, and he was huge, and I got inspiration from him. I thought, I'll sign up for my first 100k race. So I did that. That was the East Devon Round, and did that. I think I was 18 when I did that. So I did my first ultra quite young, and then since then I've done quite a few ultras, and then I like kind of like the challenge approach, being able to inspire people, but also raise money and kind of like challenge myself mentally more than anything. So, but I think it has done me well, going into HYROX and other events, just building up that kind of like mental attitude, that mental toughness.
Mm-hmm. You are like you sort of touched on it, but you are a big guy. Like you're massively, you've like you're a very good runner for your size. But does that, especially when you're doing these ultras, is that? I mean, that must be a lot of impact on the body. And does that add up? Does it? Is it? How'd you deal with that?
Yeah, and that's kind of like where my injuries came about. Really, it's kind of having the David Goggins mentality of just kind of like no pain. When you do get niggles, just ignore them, just push on and be the hard man. But in reality, that's the worst thing that you can do. I found that like the more you push on, the more you get numb to it, and you get numb to the pain, which you might think is good, but then it bites you later on when muscles and joints and ligaments are always sore. You're hobbling down the stairs every single morning, and you're just really sore. And that's how I kind of became so imbalanced that I ended up slipping 2 discs in my back.
So I was going to ask you about that injury. So you feel like that, which you did at HYROX London, wasn't it? Was that, so you feel like that could have been avoided if you'd been a bit more sensible in the lead up?
I think being more sensible. I think looking back and analysing the whole situation, I think most injuries, especially within sports, like you can assess and can analyse what actually went wrong. And with that, it was definitely just ignoring the little niggles, the little pains, the imbalances. When you are stretching, if one side is really like a lot tighter than the other, addressing that rather than just ignoring it and going, "Oh well," because that's exactly what I did. Overtraining, and then unfortunately, my body just gave up, and it was. I felt like it was just a sign of my body giving up, and telling me I need to rest.
So what was the recovery period from that injury like? Because I remember seeing a picture of you in a wheelchair on the finishing line, but so I think it was like quite a lengthy period, which for someone that's active as you must have been a mental struggle, was it?
Yeah, so it was actually quite intense. I couldn't sit up, I couldn't lie down. Like the pain was unbelievable. I actually went to A&E that night and spent a night in hospital, so I didn't just you can get mild slips of disc in your back, but mine was quite intense. I couldn't walk for a month after. So I was, and then from then I kind of just one, I was just resting within that month, but two, going seeing the physio kind of 3 to 4 times per week, going getting massages, and doing kind of very, very simple drills. Like I remember one drill, and it was a pressure bag, and you had to put it under your back, and you had to keep the pressure like the same whilst extending your legs out, so lying on your back, keeping the pressure, pushing into the bag, keeping the pressure the same. And it's just basically learning how to brace from the absolute beginning again. So how to brace your core, how to tense your core, and how to learn how to do that. And it was the most boring exercises. I'd probably say for kind of like 2 or 3 months after, and then I could gradually start moving. I did a lot of kind of like my conditioning just on a Contact 2 bike. So I could do that probably 6 weeks after being injured, and then from there gradually kind of got fitter. But I think the biggest thing and the biggest factor was to set a goal and set a challenge within that time period. So my challenge was to recover as fast as possible, and that was my challenge. So instead of just feeling sorry for myself, I set a challenge, and then I set the challenge of doing for charity 11 HYROXs in 2 days, and that was, I think it was exactly 6 months after.
Okay, awesome. Just before we go into those 11 HYROX, so you still do a lot of running, you still do these ultras and things like that, but like aside from just like not ignoring the pain on the legs, are you doing anything in terms of like load management or like recovery? Are you using ice baths and all this sort of thing after high mileage events? Is that what you're doing to help manage that?
Yeah, for sure. I look at recovery in a whole new light now, to be fair. So one thing that I prioritize massively is my sleep. So I make sure that I'm getting at least 7 hours per night. if not 8, every single night. I'm not doing as much as what I was doing. So yes, I might train twice a day, but not every session is going to be intense. Not every session is going to be all out. Like, I might have a couple of sessions per week where I'm really, really pushing it. The other sessions are going to be a little bit easier, or focusing on different things, such as stretching, mobility, stability, and strength. And I kind of have a checklist in my head. If there's a couple of things that I can't do, so, say for example, I can't get into a squat position, then I'm not going to run until I can get into that squat position comfortably. And the reason why I might not be able to get in that squat position might be because I'm tight or sore or whatever. So there's a couple of things that I like to do before then going out and going either running high mileage or going putting an intense session in the gym. And if I'm not ready, I'll just take another day off.
Okay. So the 11 HYROX in one weekend, how did that come about? Why 11? Tell us a bit about that.
So I contacted HYROX and I basically asked them how many HYROXes could I do over the London HYROX event, and they came back. Amber from HYROX came back to me and worked out that you could do 11 HYROXes over the 2 days, with kind of like the time allocations that they allocated. So I was like, okay, then we'll do 11. And essentially, I wanted to prove if I could do more than one HYROX, then hopefully it'd inspire people to, get into fitness, get into HYROX, and it's not that bad, if that makes sense. Although one HYROX is just as bad as 11 if you really push it. I'm not saying HYROX is easy. It's definitely not. And it was kind of to inspire others. I wanted to raise a little bit of money for charity, and then I wanted to give myself a challenge to get back to fitness after my injury. So that's why we chose 11.
So it was a mixture of doubles and individual events, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I didn't actually know this until the week of. I thought they were going to be all solo events, but they mentioned it. I think on the Thursday night, they said, "Yeah, we need your doubles partners." So I had to find some doubles partners. So that was funny.
It's worth. Can you remember what like times you did? Can you remember your fastest and slowest times? Because I remember looking at them thinking like, wow.
So the fastest double times we got was 56 minutes. So we set off, did a 56 minutes. I think we did a 106, the second one, and then a 58, the third one. So we had 2 sub hours for the doubles. And then we went on to single events, and I think 108 was my fastest single event. Slowest was 117, I think.
Okay, amazing. What was the what were you doing for recovery between those events, like from a nutrition perspective and anything else? Were you finding anything particularly useful?
I tried sticking to whole foods. When I say whole foods, like proper food, like gels are great, but when you're trying to get in 500 calories within kind of like 20 minutes, the best thing that I find is having a sandwich or having something simple like a wrap sandwich or some pasta or something like that. So I was trying to stick to whole foods as much as possible, and this just played on this was good for my stomach as well. I think a couple of gels are okay, but if you're having 20 gels in a day, I don't think it's going to sit right with your stomach. So that was kind of like my nutrition, but that was the hardest part, actually feeling myself. I had around half an hour between each HYROX, so that was just taken up by eating, drinking, rehydrating, because it's hot in there, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. What's the toughest thing that you think you've done, fitness sports wise? Is it that or something else?
And I think the toughest thing that I've ever done is I entered a 100-mile race. So and I ended up doing 116 miles because it was self-navigation and we got a little bit lost. So and that on kind of like no sleep, I found that the toughest thing I've ever done, I think.
Okay. Just purely because it was the length of it. It was.
Yeah, I think lack of sleep. I think I don't do that well when I do. I'm okay, but yeah, I think when you start, hallucinating, when your energy levels drop that far that you have no happiness. It's a weird stage that you go through. You go through highs and lows. But, yeah, them lows are incredibly low.
Yeah. With like I mentioned your weight before, and you're quite a big guy. Do you feel like where you're at the moment is optimal for you and for HYROX? Are you tempted to add weight, lose weight at all?
Well, I was under the impression before the Elite 15 this time, I was under the impression that losing weight, because I sit at around 89 to 90 kg, and I'm just short of 6 foot, so 5'11" and a half. And for my, if you look at the Elite 15, if you look at the people like my height, they're a little bit lighter. They're normally around 82 to 85 kg. And I was thinking, this was kind of optimal. And I think everyone else in the Elite 15 field also thought the same. But then I know Graham Halliday said that he felt good, but he was 3 kg lighter than his top race that he's ever done. Obviously, Hunter dropped a lot of weight, and he said that was the biggest mistake he's ever done. So I think that sweet spot for someone my height probably sits around kind of like 85 kg. I think any lighter than that. So I probably will drop a couple of kg, and I probably will look to do that over kind of like this off season.
Mm-hmm. Is HYROX going to be your focus like for next season, in the off season, or have you got marathons and all sorts planned as well?
No, 100%. My main focus is HYROX, and my main focus within HYROX is to try and get into that Elite 15. But I did set a goal of kind of with my off season is to run a fast marathon time, and the reason I did that is because I feel personally, I feel like when I compare my results to the people in the Elite 15, I think my running times are slower than theirs, and that's just a fact, really. So I need to get better at running. I think having a marathon as a goal holds me accountable to that. I've never been one for hitting stupidly high mileage. A lot of the guys in the Elite 15 are kind of running anywhere between 70k and 100k per week. I'm probably more between 40 and 50k per week. A lot of speed work, a lot of interval stuff, but getting them easy miles in, I prefer to do something else. So yeah, I think having a marathon will hold me accountable to that.
So is it fair to say like quite a high percentage of that 40 to 50k is like quality work, and then like the easy zone 2 stuff is non-running? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, for sure. I find running is quite stressful, and it's quite stressful on the joints. And I find if I run too much, then my squat feels horrendous. So when I am doing my strength training, that starts to be neglected if my miles are too high. So making sure that I basically just prioritize all my quality work as running. All my speed work I do for running, probably 40 to 50k per week, and then zone 2 work is done on the erg. So whether it's rower, ski, or bike, I normally do my zone 2 work there.
Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned like your running times. Do you know roughly where you're at for your 5k, 10k, half, whatever?
Yeah. So at the moment, I just did the Manchester 10k, and that was a couple of weeks back, and that I got 34:45, nice. Which was a massive improvement from kind of like the start of the year. Like the start of the year, I was about 37.5 minutes, so I'm not done quite a bit of time, but I still got a lot to go.
Awesome. And then strength wise, what do you know what you might be for like a 3-rep deadlift or something like that?
Yeah, so at the moment, just because of my back injury, I'm getting back into deadlifts, but the one that I track a little bit more is kind of like my back squat. 3-rep max would be at the moment probably between 140 and 150 kg. So that's where we're sitting at the moment. Looking to progress that and get a little bit stronger.
Okay, awesome. I wanted to ask you a bit about like some of the work that you're doing. So you're a HYROX master trainer, is that right?
Yeah.
So what does that involve?
So, so basically, with HYROX at the moment, they've got gym affiliates all across the country. I think they've got over 900 now. I think in the UK. So what we do, we go around and we do kind of like seminars for the gym owners, basically how to optimize HYROX within their gym. So we run through what HYROX is, how to train for it, how to kind of like program classes, and then how to kind of like make a business from HYROX as well, because obviously it is the in thing at the moment. A lot of people are wanting to do HYROX. It's so accessible for everyone, and it's such an amazing sport that gyms can make a lot of money if they want off it. So it's basically going into gyms and teaching them how to make the most out of HYROX. So it's a pretty cool job. I love doing it. I love teaching. I'm a little bit nerdy when it comes to HYROX, and so I love going and teaching it.
Awesome. And you work for Represent as well?
Yeah, so Represent, I've been working with them now just over a year. And basically, if people don't know, Represent is a clothing brand, and the owner, George and Mike Heaton, are massively into fitness. They've done a couple of HYROXes themselves, but they were so inspired by fitness that they wanted to have this impact on all their staff. So they designed a gym for their offices. And they kindly asked me and my partner Emily to come in and coach all the staff. So every single morning, like before work, they have the option to come and join a class where we do kind of like scaled back CrossFit, some HYROX, and yeah, they get that every single day. So yeah, I'm basically their coach.
Okay. Do you feel like that's, like, from your perspective, if people are listening and running business, have you seen it help the workplace? Has it helped to build the community in between the staff and things like that?
So yeah, totally. I remember a member of the team coming and explaining what it felt like, and they compared it to before they had access to the gym. Everyone were in their separate groups. Whenever it was kind of like a team social or a staff social, like the Christmas do, for example, it'd be like a year 6 disco where all the girls would be at one side of the room, all the lads would be at the other side of the room, but no one would speak. And they compared it to that, to then a couple of months of being with the gym. Everyone's having banter with everyone, everyone's having a crack. And everyone has something in common that they can speak about, which I think just brought the team together a little bit more. Even if it's just kind of going up to someone and say, "Oh, my legs are killing from that session this morning," or whatever. It's just a little thing where you can be competing, or you can be in the same team in the morning as the CEO or George, the founder, and you could be going head to head with them. And I think it's a really good thing.
Awesome. Okay, and then I also wanted to ask about recently announced that you're sort of working with Red Bull, sponsored by Red Bull, and I think you're Red Bull UK's first fitness-based athlete as well. That must feel pretty special.
Oh, insane! Like it's like a dream come true. I've always looked at Red Bull as being this brand that you could only dream of working with. Like all the Red Bull athletes. I'm a massive fan of kind of like the ultra endurance stuff. So Tom Evans, Iron Man with Lucy Charles Barkley, and I just think they're in pretty cool sports, and I think I'm really glad that they're coming into kind of like fitness and coming into HYROX as well. And I was absolutely honoured to be the first athlete that they take on.
Yeah, nice. Does it? And I know you work with a few brands, but does it come with? Do you feel like there's a burden on you, like as a result of that? Do you feel like you have to now go out and get results, or do you enjoy that?
Well, first of all, I absolutely love it, and I love the pressure. But it definitely is that. Like when I told my girlfriend, about the potential of kind of like Red Bull, in the back of her mind, she's just thinking, "Oh, Jake's just going to train harder now. He's just going to, it's an amazing opportunity, but he's he's already 100% with the HYROX, and he's going to have to find that extra 10%. So yeah, I think that's what it's made me do. I think there is a little bit more pressure, but it's pressure's kind of like a privilege. So yeah, I love it.
Okay, cool. You spent a bit of time training with Hunter, I think. How was that? And I wanted to ask, do you feel like there's anything about him or any of the other like top elite guys that you spent time with that stand out compared to other people?
So the thing with Hunter is incredible. I think his mentality is unbelievable. I think his willingness to educate other people is incredible as well. Like if anyone doesn't watch his YouTubes or anything at the moment, then please do, because I think they are really insightful. And he's the exact same person in real life as well. Like you'll go over there, you'll speak to him, I'll go for a training session with him, and he'll be educating me in the exact same way. And he's just that guy that wants the best for everyone around him. I think that's really, really valuable. But he has literally spent the last however many months now, probably about 5 months, up in the hills of Malibu. Like you go up there, you drive up there, and like LA is chaos. You drive up to his ranch, and it's like all you can hear is, you can't hear anything basically. You can hear water trickling, and that's it. Like it's just him on his own training, and I think that can be a good thing, because it can help you focus, and the lengths that he's going to with the coaches he's taking on board. He's sleeping in an altitude tent and things like this. I think he is trying to take everything to that next level. And yeah, I was pretty gutted when it didn't pay off this time. But for him, I think it's just a learning curve. I think he'll be back and he'll be at the top next season, I think.
Mm-hmm. And from your like mindset perspective, where does your mind go during HYROX, like when things are tough, but also all the events you do when things are really like hard? What do you think about to help? Yeah,
it sounds weird, but when I am struggling, I think about the people that have come to support, because they've come out their way to either come support you, or even if they've just come to watch the event, they want to see a show at the end of the day. And if you're thinking of giving up, then that's a bit embarrassing. And that's what I think about. And I know it's petty, but like that gets me through. Do you know that pressure from other people watching? I think it's a good thing if you channel it right.
Okay. So you said you're all in on HYROX, want to get in the Elite 15. Are you like? I mean, I guess we're waiting to hear for exactly what the qualifying process is for next season. But are you pretty happy with how it's set up at the moment? Do you feel like you can get a time that's going to get you into that process?
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully I'd be happy. Obviously, all the courses are different, so I think I'm going to. My kind of mindset behind it all, and my process is going to be try and compete in as many as possible at the start of the season. See which of the fast courses. Hopefully, get a good time on one of the fast courses, because I feel like that the courses that I have competed on this season, doing kind of like pro singles, I don't think they have been the fastest courses. And that's just looking at other people's times. And yeah, both New York, there was another guy that got 59, and then everyone got over an hour. And Glasgow, everyone got over an hour apart from me. So I think, whereas you look at, say, like Berlin, and no, that was incredibly fast, but you've got 10 people running a 57. And I don't know if it's just the quality of people or not. We don't know that, but hopefully we can get on a fast course, put down a good time, and then get into that qualifying. Then qualifying stages.
All right. Well, good luck with it. Or if there's if people want to follow you, find out more about you, where should they go?
So I'm currently on Instagram mainly. That's just Jake Dearden _. And then I am starting my YouTube. I think I'm 4 episodes in, and that's just my name, Jake Dearden. But thank you, Greg, for everything.
All right, love it. Cheers, mate. Thank you.